Hey you! Welcome back to my channel. My name's Kat if you are new here, and if you're returning, then welcome back home, Skillet. I am so very happy to have you guys here today on this video. As you can see by the title of this is not the typical nor average video that I've been doing here on my channel, but it is my story, and it is my story of the couple years that I was super and depressed. There's a lot in it, and we're just gonna get right on into it. Alrighty, so this story starts in 5th grade for me. At the time, I was living with my mama and my grandma. My parents were divorced, so I didn't live with them together. I would go visit my dad occasionally. And then my mama got engaged to this guy that I had absolutely no desire to bring into our family. I did not like him. I had a lot of emotional issues going on there with him, and it just... like it was not my cup of tea, and it wasn't ever because he did anything wrong or he ever mistreated me. I hated the idea of accepting the fact that my parents weren't going to get back together, and that this was kind of final. And so I didn't like the decision. I didn't like him. I didn't like anything to do with that. And then at the same time, as this was happening, my dad was getting a divorce. Now, he did end up remarrying, and he had a son with his second wife at the time. Things didn't work out. They got a divorce, and even that relationship brought a lot of emotional hurt and pain and brokenness into my life. And it felt like the world was kind of caving in. My grandma, who I love, was like a second mom to me. She had to move out, and then oh my gosh, she had to move out, and then my mom was gonna bring in her future husband into the house, and so I was like, girl, are you kidding? And then my dad was getting a divorce, and so that meant that I wasn't going to see my... Oh, so sorry. I don't even know. Okay. And so anyways, that meant that my dad, I wasn't going to be seeing my younger brother as often anymore. Things were really crappy. And so I just started to bottle everything up inside, and I was like, nope, absolutely not. Like, I won't talk to anyone about this. This is my problem. I don't even know how to talk to anyone about this. My mom, I mean, I can't talk to her. She's going through her thing. I can't talk to my dad. There's something going on there, you know. And so, you know, I threw myself into a friend group. And this friend group was already, like, before I had even met them, there was a lot of drama going on there. And regardless of the situation, I didn't know what else to do. So I was like, drama will get my mind off of things. It will keep me occupied. It'll keep me busy. And so threw myself into the friend group. And my mistake was really trusting them with my emotions, and their advice was not good, you know. It was just not good. It was very superficial. It was very much like, oh, get a boyfriend or whatever. And I wasn't vibing with that, and at this time I didn't even know what cut or overdo. I didn't know what any of this was. I didn't until I was online, and I actually stumbled upon some stuff. So I was like, that's my outlet. That'll be my outlet. Is I just thought, you know, if I mess up hard enough one day, or I don't know, I go too far, then, you know, maybe this will all be over, and then everyone could just be happy, and, you know, my mom doesn't have to worry about me, and, you know, it made sense to me at the time. It made sense to me at the time. And so that 5th grade year, I began myself. For a long time, no one really knew, and I took a picture of one of my this one time, and someone, well, anyways, it got a hold of it, and my mom got contacted by the principal, and that day for me was crazy. It was crazy. The principal called my mom, and it was nuts. They found out. I had to talk to my mom about it. She was, she was surprised, to say the least. You know, she was heartbroken. She was trying to get a hold of where I was at, in my head and my emotions, and I didn't know how to communicate that to her. And so I told her, don't worry, I'm done. Don't worry about it anymore. I'm fine, right? I tried kind of brushing it off really quickly. And man, it just kind of got worse and worse and worse, right? So the wedding's getting closer, the divorce is getting closer to finalizing. My mom found out that I'm cutting, and now I am getting cyberbullied at this point by my friends. So the same friends that I would go to at school, kind of telling them my problems, telling them what was wrong, they were also the same ones that were coming at me later on that day and going online saying nasty stuff. And even in person, it was really toxic, to be quite honest with you. It was very much like, maybe you're not, like, you could be probably like fat or something, or it was always stuff about my appearance and my character, and it was like, you don't know anything, it was really belittling to me and who I was, and so that only brought me down even more. So I started cutting. I really only stopped for, I don't know, maybe like a week or two, just to kind of let the air clear out and kind of give me a green light to go again. So I stopped, and then I started again. This is by the end of 5th grade going into summertime. So 6th grade, I got into new friend group. Now my mom had warned me about these girls before I'd even become friends with them. Side note, if your mama ever warns you about someone, please listen. Please listen. I know it's irritating and I know it's annoying, and the last thing you want to do is listen to your mom, especially if you guys don't have a good relationship. But please, their prediction about people is never too far off. It's not. I don't know what happens to them when they become others, but they just get these senses, and all of a sudden they know who's good and who's not, and it's very rare when they're wrong. So just please, I advise you to listen, because if had I listened, I think that things would have been different. Anyways, so at this point, what is this, 6th grade, right? I get into this new friendship, this new friend group with these girls. They were the popular girls at the time at my school, and kind of same thing, to be honest with you. It was still a lot of drama, and it was, this time, boys were incorporated to this. It was a lot more about like, he's really cute, like, girl, you should try to get at him, or I heard he likes you. And it's middle school, you know, like, no relationship is really real in middle school. I know some of y'all, there's some very rare cases where there's like middle school sweethearts. That was not the case for anybody in my middle school. And so I was still depressed. I had anxiety. I was paranoid about everything and anything. I had so much crap hidden on my phone because I was like, oh my gosh, I have to cover up my pictures of like me. And I would always tell myself, last one, and I never did, right? And so those pictures were just kind of reminders. They were reminders for me of how much I sucked, and then they're also just kind of there, I guess. But anyways, boys were incorporated to this situation, and the whole topic of getting a boyfriend kind of came around, and that was a really wrong, sharp left turn that should not have been made nor advised, and I wasn't allowed to date at that point, and still not allowed to date, but yeah, I got into relationships and they were mad stupid. I'm so oh my goodness, but they were mad stupid, period. Really, they were. And they did not bring me up at all, didn't do anything for me. It was a very big waste of my time. But nonetheless, whenever a breakup would happen, I say whenever a breakup would happen because my stupid little self got involved with, like, it was dumb. It was just like, oh my gosh, you like me? Okay, awesome. Let's do this. Because, and by let's do this, I mean like, let's date. I don't mean anything, okay? But I felt like the attention that a boy would give me was really valuable to me at the time because I wasn't getting, not to say that I wasn't getting a lot at home, but I just felt like what I was getting at home was problematic and I wanted something to escape from. So I turned to guys, right? And I turned to seek out their affection and their attention and their love and what I could get from them at that time. And it wasn't much, just to say the least. It wasn't much. So anytime a breakup would happen, I would cry and I'd be hurt and I would say, I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, like this sucks. My friends were not the best of help either, actually. In fact, they probably just encouraged me to think that I wasn't enough, and there had to be either something wrong with me or the guy was just really stupid and I need to hop into another relationship ASAP. So at this point, again, like I said, I was taking pictures of my and my mom stumbled upon a cut I had on my hip, and she said, hey, how long has this been here? And I said, it's an old picture. It's an old picture, don't worry about it. And she goes, let me see your side. And you know, the scar at the time had been, I mean, it was probably faded. But she went into my dirty laundry and saw the clothes that I had, and she goes, this is what I'm seeing in the picture. And I was like, crap. So she found out again. And at this point I was 13, and it had gotten a little more serious with the midst of boyfriends, and the friends. I had already tried to kind of end it all twice, really, by the age of 13, and it was really dark moments, to be honest with you. They were just really crappy. I remember a lot of nights that I spent crying. But this is just, my mindset was really twisted. And so at this point I had already tried, and I don't know, I mean, man, I probably had at least, I think I remember it was like 30 to 40 hips and about 14 on my wrist. And I always said one last one, I just, one last one, I deserve this, I shouldn't be here, I deserve it. And yeah, so when she found that picture, it was just kind of, it was nerve-wracking again for me, and I just remember I was shaking and was like, oh crap, like this is about to go down. And so she calls up my dad, and my dad comes over, and we have a conversation about the next steps for me. And I just remember being so numb in that moment, being so numb to everything that was happening, and I just kind of, I didn't know really what to do. I just was kind of there sitting there because I saw the pain in my mom's eyes, and I saw the frustration in my dad's eyes. And I mean, it's no one's desire to deal with this when they have a child, you know. And so yeah, that was the case. My mom immediately started trying to get a lot closer to me at this point. I mean, from that moment, our dynamic kind of changed, right? She started checking up on me a lot more often, checking my phone, making sure, you know, there's nothing there. And yeah, it just, I don't know, it was hard, right? And even the friends that I had at the time were kind of going through some similar stuff too, and they were only encouraging me to. So it was just kind of weird telling them, like, I can't really do this anymore, and like it's hard for me to hide this because now my mom's checking and whatnot, and it was really sucky, to say the least. But yeah. Alrighty, so after my mom found out and things started shifting a bit, church kind of comes into play here. It comes into play, oh my goodness. Church comes into play, and we had been going to church for a while, actually, while I was already going through all of this, but I always isolated myself. I hated going to any type of kids church, any church period. I would always just run into the offices. We'd get there super early in the day, and I'd run into the offices, and I would sit my little butt down, and I would watch YouTube, and I would draw, and I just didn't want to interact with anyone. And church came along, and I was into photography at the time. My dad he still is really part-time like photographer. He loves to take pictures, and he's awesome at it, but that's where I got a lot of my inspo from, and I was super into it at the time. This was kind of like our bonding thing, and I was actually really intrigued, and I actually wanted to pursue this as a career. And so, you know, my mom goes, hey, there's a photography team here with the Spanish side of our church, you should join. And I was like, girl, no, that involves me talking to people, like I won't do that, that's baloney, I will not do that. And she goes, just try it out, I'll talk to the head person, just let them know that you're interested, and then we'll see. If you don't like it first day, you can leave, you can quit and find whatever it is, but just try it out. So I was like, I'm not doing it. I bump into my photography team leader at the time, and she was like, hey, so your mom told me, you know, you're interested. And I was like, yeah, you know, I'm like trying to be polite. And she goes, great, so I'll see you next Sunday, bring your camera. Girl, what you mean? Anyways, I started the photography team that very next Sunday, and I fell in love with it. I met some amazing people, very big influential people in my life. And one of my guy friends that was there said, hey, have you ever heard of like the high school services here? And I was like, nah, I'm in 8th grade, homie. Like it was the summer of me going into 8th grade, so I was like, no, I don't even meet the age requirement or whatever. And he was like, no, just come, you know, just slip in, like come. And so I was like, okay. And I go to service, and they were playing music right before the beginning of service, that's called worship, but they were playing music, and I was standing there still, and I was like, and something about it felt like home to me. And so I lifted up my hands, and I just remember being so confused, and like I didn't even know I was lifting my hands, but I felt like I should. And when I lifted up my hands, I was like, God, like I'll give you a shot. Like I'll give you a shot, and I'll try this thing out for a bit. But you can take it. You can take my life, and you can take who I am, and go ahead. Like, I'll see what you do, right? I had always heard that he was awesome and that he was good and he was faithful. That's what I had always heard. And so I was like, okay, all right, like, we'll see. So I did. I lifted up my hands, and that very day I committed my life to Jesus. And things from that day were different for me. They weren't all bumps and rainbows. There was actually some times that I would still go to service and come in and out, that I had my moments of weakness and I was tempted to again, but I told Jesus, and I was like, you've got me. Your word says this and your word says that, and I know that everything that people are talking about, I want to see you do it in my life, so here's your shot. And I just continued to let him in. And yeah, my friends, I mean, I completely ditched. I remember the day that I left my friends, but I completely ditched that whole scene. I didn't talk to them again, blocked them, removed them from my life. And I mean, there was a lot of confusion with that, and there was some even rumors and all this stupid stuff going around. Like, it was really dumb. But because I wasn't hanging out with the popular kids, I wasn't really going outside anymore during school to play, I actually started hanging out in classrooms. Best decision of my life, because that is where I met some of the most amazing people I've met in a long time. There's a lot of kids that would hang upstairs with the teachers that didn't necessarily have a lot of friends or really any friends at all, and they were really shy. And so I would just kind of talk to them, and I started building relationship with them. And my teachers too, I was a really crappy student, not gonna lie, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, because I mean, I really wasn't focusing on school. I was like below like a 3. I think I had like a 2 point something. And by 8th grade, I was already at like a 3.5, and I was building these connections, and it was so much fun. And that's where I found the most genuine people, was the people that kind of lay back, and they're just kind of, you know, they're kind of to themselves. But oh my goodness, I fell in love with hanging out with them. And there's just this community upstairs, like in the classrooms that we had, that we didn't have downstairs outside with like all the superficial stuff going on. So I found a lot of joy in that. And I remember I would bring my Bible to school, and I would get there a little bit early, and I would read, or I would just have it there with me. And to me, having my Bible there meant I'm good. If I need, at the time, my remedy was, right? So it was like, if I'm emotional, or if I'm feeling anxiety, I can just go run, get my, do a quick one, and then, you know, go back to normal. But now it was like, if I'm feeling that anxiety again, I could go run, get my backpack, read a quick scripture, and I'm good to go. And it was different, because that peace that I had wasn't just for a moment or even for a second, but it was for a lot longer. That is for a week, it was for a month, it was for the rest of my life, that I still carry to this day. And so yeah, that was my 8th grade year. It really took off with new friends, new relationships, cut off the old ones. Definitely got a little bit more involved with church. And I learned to build some peace with the relationship that my mom had with her husband. And you know, me and my dad tried to work through stuff, and I cannot begin to tell you the change in the relationship that I have with my mom. It's literally like astronomical, the change that we've had in our relationship, because I couldn't even trust her when I was in 5th grade. I felt so like, I didn't want anything to do with any kind of communication anymore there, and it sucked, man. Like it sucked. And now to this day, I kid you not, we tell each other literally everything, and we are like sisters, we are like best friends. And that's only because she prayed for me every single day that I was going through things, and she opened up the doors to say, honey, it's okay, and she welcomed me in. And that's also the only change that went down really was because I allowed the Lord to come into my life and, you know, carve through all that junk that was going on. And did it suck? Yeah, it was really painful actually, and there was a lot of crying, and there was a lot of pain that I had to go through and endure to see that light at the end of the tunnel. But I wouldn't trade it for a thing. I wouldn't, because to this day people are still like, dude, you are like, you're happy like all the time, like, did you pipe down a little bit? And it just hit me the other day, like, he's so faithful. faithful. Money could not fix my depression. Money could not stop me from going out and hurting myself. A guy could not fulfill what was going on in my heart. And as much as I wanted to believe you're pretty and I love you and that was all baloney to me. Why? Because it wasn't genuine and it didn't fill anything up. It made me feel good for like the 5 seconds that I heard it, and right after I was doubting myself and I was doubting everything that went on in my head, and it was superficial stuff that I tried filling myself up with. And did it work? Absolutely not. It didn't work, and the only thing that worked for me was Jesus. And so now I have been, oh my gosh, okay, if I'm going to be a senior in high school, sorry, I had to do the math for this really quick, but I believe it's about 4 or 5 years that I am going on clean. I don't have a on my wrist. I haven't had one in ages. I haven't felt or fallen back into depression or any suicide since that year of my life. 8th grade year was the best year of my life this far. So many changes happened. It was all for the better. I've seen God's faithfulness come into my life over and over and over again. And you know, if you're watching this and you resonate with a lot of things that I said, give God one shot. Give God one shot. One shot. Allow him to come into your life and see what he does. He changed mine radically, and it wasn't temporary. This isn't me being fake. This isn't so that I can impress people. I'm telling you how I really got through it all. It took time, it took patience, but can I tell you, God has a ton of time and a ton of patience for you. Everybody's circumstance is different, but don't you dare let anyone tell you that you're not worth it or that you're not valuable. I really wish that I could see everyone that was watching this, but please know that you are strong and you can get through this. And as much as maybe we would love, but a romantic partner is not going to be the one to get you through that. They will not be the one that will pull you out of it every single time. Jesus is always going to pull you through it each and every single time. You will get out of this, and I promise you that 10 years from now, even 5 years from now, like me, you're going to look back on these days and think, I'm so glad that I didn't do that. I'm so glad that I went and I gave God a shot and that he changed my life, because now I'm doing this, and this. And I mean, it's ridiculous the amount of goodness that God has just like thrown on me. And he's so awesome. I have ministries now that I'm either in charge of or involved with. I tell you this, give God a shot. Cut out the toxic people in your life. I know it's hard, but cut them out. And get you some good friends. Let me tell you, I've been so happy and I have so much joy. Yeah, I've got my hard days. Not to say that I don't have them. I have my hard days, but can I tell you, it is different. My life is so different with Jesus, and it's so much fun. Oh my gosh, it is so much fun. Y'all have no idea. And no, I'm not talking about like sitting on your knees and like praying for like 10 hours. No, I'm talking about the Christian parties are hella fun. Life is just so much better. The Bible says it a million times, or maybe not a million times, I'm so sorry. It says it multiple times that Jesus wants us to live our life abundantly. That doesn't mean average and boring and lame. He wants us to live something exciting, something to look forward to. So give him that one shot. Give him that one shot. Yeah. Alrighty, and that is the very end of my depression / story. It was tough and there was a lot of stuff, and it's a lot. But again, thank you so much for watching this. I really do appreciate you watching this, and like I said, if you're someone who is going through this, reach out to someone that you do trust. You're not alone in this, and this is going to be such a good year for you. I know that 2020 so far has been a little, it's kind of been everywhere, to be honest with you, but let me tell you, with Jesus, 2020 is your year. Do not forget it. Do not lose it. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. Last thing. I kind of messed up right there. But anyways, the last thing I wanted to say was, if you have not become a home skillet yet, click, actually I don't know which side it's on. Anyways, click the subscribe button to my channel, hit the notification bell, because YouTube actually doesn't really notify you when I post. So hit the notification bell, and I will see you guys for my next video. Thank you so much.